This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much!
On 97.7 FM, The City.
Greetings, blessings, and good fortune, everybody. It's another Thursday. Glad to be with you. I mean, this is just a beautiful Thursday, wonderful Thursday. Here we are, and we got a great show for you today. In fact, it's a special show. We got a special guest today, a new friend of ours named Oscar. We're going to bring him in a little bit, and you're going to get to pick the brains of someone who's much better versed in crypto than I am. And we're gonna have a good conversation. Talk about your favorite coins and maybe some strategies. The bull market. We got a lot of things on tap. Real quick, I'm going to go over our identification. We're coming at you from 97.7 FM here in McAllen, Texas. KCYP, the city. Yes, we're basically filming from the McAllen Creative Incubator. And it was the old library. Lots of good stuff going on here. If you're local, come on down. Musicians, artists, all that good stuff. We're also going out on Facebook. We're going out on YouTube. And we're going out on two different radio apps. One is called TuneIn Radio. And the other one is called Radio Garden. Great apps, both of them. I tried them. I think you'll like them. We're going to go real quick over the economic barometer, the verse of the day, and then we're going to bring in our very special guest. So Bitcoin was at 112,283. Yes, 112,283. What does that say? It says it's getting lower and it's time, if you have it, to buy. If you have that money, right? Silver at 38.35, going up. Gold at 3,350 an ounce, again going up. Your average mortgage rates really haven't changed too much. Hopefully you don't absolutely have to buy a property. 30-year rate is at 5.84%, and the 15-year rate is at 5%. The verse of the day is this. My son, preserve sound judgment and discernment. Do not let them out of your sight. They will be life for you, an ornament to grace your neck. How wise is that, right? Proverbs 3:21 and 22. All right, everybody. We got like I said, a special guest with us tonight, and I really am looking forward to speaking to Oscar. Renee, could you bring him on, and we will have a good talk with him, because I've spoken with him a little bit. So he's got knowledge in the business, ladies and gents.
Hey, what's going on?
Hello, Renee. I've got Renee behind the computer, and we have Oscar coming on. Do we have a way to put him picture in picture, Renee?
Yeah, if you have a picture in picture with you.
Oh, okay. Is that happening? Okay, there we go. Yeah. All right. Que guapo, my friend. All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we've got our side-to-side Barry's in. Glad to see you're along, Barry. I know you have some questions now and again. Before I ask you questions, all right, Oscar, what I'm going to do is ask you what you would like to talk about.
Well, absolutely everything. I'm all excited about crypto. I've done it for many years right now, and yeah, I mean, if there's something going on, well, you can always find me on my socials too. But anytime that I have a friend or I have connections that I can talk about crypto, we're always happy and glad to to help people get into the business of crypto and blockchain.
Excellent. In fact, if you have your socials, I don't know what we could do is we'll link them. If you can either text them in the comments or link them, we will link them to this video so that every time somebody watches the video, they'll get your socials. Whichever ones you prefer to put up there.
Absolutely.
So what do you think, Oscar? What do you think is the cause? And I'm going to go into this a little bit after we get off the broadcast here. I'm going to go into what Cointelegraph believes is manipulation as the reason for Bitcoin falling this last time, right? So what do you think it is? I have my own opinions on it, but I'd like to, ask you what your opinion of why is the Bitcoin going down at this point when we're all hoping it's going to go up?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think right now the accumulation phase of cryptocurrency started as Donald J. Trump won the election last year, and many different asset managers started accumulating and adding and buying and obviously supporting pro-crypto legislation and regulation here in the United States. It's
right.
been done well since the beginning of his presidency in early January, and it's been 7 months so far, 8 including August, of course, of relentless push for crypto regulation. Right now, we're doing really well, passing Genius Act, and now about to pass soon, right? Fall 2025, Clarity,
Right.
the market structure bill. Just yesterday, I was listening to many people knowing about that at the South Conference in Wyoming. Tomorrow, we're going to hear from Jerome Powell, the Fed chair. So there's all kinds of things that are affecting, but for the most part, a lot of people made some good money in the last couple of weeks and months because of
Okay,
the.
so you're thinking sell off maybe?
I think it's normal because we have this variable of, hey, what will the Fed do? Because Jerome Powell right now saw the PPI, which is the producer price index, after the consumer price index CPI, the jobless claims and unemployment rate, and more variables that affect the economy. Um, that's all taken in consideration. And there's a big one, tariffs. So the reason why
Right.
Trump is pushing him to cut, but he's not doing it, is because of the effect on tariffs. And we're seeing now how inflation is starting to crawl back up a little bit, especially with core, which is headline CPI, core CPI. And that is giving Powell more ammunition to hold rates the same. So we're
Right.
seeing
Right.
how just yesterday and about 48 hours ago, Grayscale, BlackRock, and a few other asset managers started selling. And I do have my sources there on X that where you can see that they're starting to sell some of those assets because they're
Sure.
preventing themselves from some more pain ahead. So answering your question, I think we had a nice time to explore some price discovery for XRP, for Bitcoin. That was really nice. We just need more clarity and less uncertainty. And once that clears, we're gonna go to the next phase. I'm not saying that that's it. Bear market comes in, bull market is over. But it's just there's just phases of consolidation, and we're in one because we also have the issue with Russia and Ukraine that is affecting geopolitics, and it's not gonna leave us alone until that gets much closer to the finish line.
Right. Right. And I'm hoping that that's going to come along fairly quickly. There was a missile attack from Russia to Ukraine, but there were injuries, no fatalities. So I think this is largely over with. I think the movements are going to keep going. The narratives are going to go out. The deployments of narratives, I believe that is the largest way things are going. But also with the tariffs, I think the tariffs are going to be realized by the American people at the very least as something that is going to work itself out naturally as we back off from paying the bills for the whole world and they help out. It's just a matter of time. It's our patience that are going to be tried, I think. So let me ask you this. I've got a friend of mine that is inquiring about XRP. He's got a little bit of money that he wants to, well, a little bit is relative, right? But he's not afraid to lose it. It's not the rent money. He's going to still be able to feed his family. And he's wanting to go all in on a bag of XRP. So I told him basically that if he feels comfortable with it and he's not afraid to lose it, that XRP is a winning team. It's a winning project. And it's got so much going for it that you're probably better off going if you want quick returns, right? I would think in the long term, Bitcoin's better, but XRP, I think, has a better chance for exponential growth of the big ones, ETH, XRP, ADA, all the big ones, Solana maybe. What would you think if you had, I won't say disposable money, but money that you weren't afraid to lose? What do you think's the way to go in this current paradigm?
Well, it really depends who you ask, because a lot of people will buy gold, will buy silver. That's okay,
Yeah.
or just the stock market or any good ETF or mutual fund. And for a lot of people in our demographic or age or whatever bracket, that's okay, and that's been working. So it depends if somebody is like, okay, I don't want to lose money. I just want to keep my money and let it grow for a little bit. Then, I think crypto may not be that good for you. But if you say like, you know what, I'm tired of being too conservative, let me go ahead and push the pedal. great. And I have good news for you. And those good news is that we have an industry right now that is booming, that I've been in the business for 5 years, and I see myself already doing this for the rest of my life, because this is the future. And I am all in crypto, and I love it, and I'm already seeing the great results of that decision. And we're barely passing regulation as far as clarity in the United States, where I've been to Dubai and they have BADA. I've been to Singapore and they have dozens of big companies that are based and headquartered in Singapore. And I'm actually, there's Token 2049 in less than a month and a half, and I'm going. And I know that there's going to be more progress, because they are not messing with politics. They're messing with facts and data, and they're going all in, and they're leading the world when it comes to crypto. So taking it back to which one? Well, if you ask me, what I will tell you is, look, how many years, how old you need to be to retire nicely with a nice 401k? Even if you get to that age, are you able to withdraw all of it? Answer, no. Right. You cannot withdraw everything. You have to wait and follow rules and go through that, Roth IRS, what have you. So if you want something called self-custody, if you're willing to take the responsibility out from banks and customer service, please help me into yours, because that's what a lot of people are scared of, then go ahead and join crypto, because that is what is going to really give you a bunch of freedom, that no one is going to debank you. I've met Eric Trump when I went to Dubai. The guy's been debanked. That's why he got into crypto, and they are crushing it. And cryptocurrency allows you to meet up with great leaders and say, what are we going to build? One of the things that I like about blockchain is you don't have to ask anybody for permission. The public, the crypto, the community is going to demand transparency from you. They can see everything. Just last 24 hours, what happened? This guy, JC, but his name is this guy, Kim Kardashian's ex-husband. Kanye West. Kanye West. He dropped this nasty garbage rug pull.
Why or something like that?
Almost $3 billion just the last 18 hours. And some people made millions. A bunch of people lost money. That is the Wild West that we're living right now, which, okay, yeah, it happens. It works. You can make millions upon millions in a day. Yeah, it happens. That is crypto too. But there's a big spectrum. If you don't want to be that super risky that you can lose it all, but you also don't want to be extremely conservative and follow Warren Buffett, well, what's in the middle is XRP. So with all that I've said, I hope I painted a picture of, okay, this is what lives, but XRP, Ethereum, literally like the top 10. You don't go wrong with the top 10. I have all of them, and they've been doing well. And as we have more users coming in, we don't even have 1 billion crypto users, 1 billion. And guess what? We don't even have half a billion active users. One thing is having users. Another thing is having active users. So it's just an early stage for people to come in and do their research.
Right. I don't know what you think about this, but my idea of XRP is a change agent, meaning the old financial system needs flux. It needs something to allow it to mesh with the new financial system, which is blockchain, right? So in some way or form, I see that as being XRP, since 500 banks internationally have already accepted, or I should rather say, Ripple has accepted those banks as part of the network, the XRP blockchain, for the upcoming transactions that we're going to see worldwide, which are going to be much more efficient, much faster, easier. Everything about XRP is better than the current SWIFT system. Am I on track there? Do you track with that?
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, I've been following Brad Garlinghouse, who is the chief executive officer. I've been following Chris Larsen, who is the executive chairman of Ripple. I've been following Stuart, is the chief legal officer, and I've been following David, which was the CTO, chief technology officer, and more. And Monica Long, of course, the president. I think we have a tremendous winner in XRP. If you take a look at the price and tokenomics, you can do an immense price prediction with XRP, and you're either gonna be disappointed, you're either gonna be excited. I bought at 50 cents before Trump won. Right now, just take a look at where it went a couple weeks and even like a month ago. Did a 6x plus 6 7x in about
Right.
9 8 months. 9 8 months for a 6x. Everybody, that is a phenomenal returns. If you do decide to take profits and sell and do it again, right? But a lot of people who are like, okay, you know what, I can afford a few more years for
Mhm.
total and complete financial freedom, then that's what we're trying to do. And to answer that, Patrick but David, who is the owner of Value Tatement on YouTube, he's a great guy. Check him out. He did a study. He did, a video about XRP and Ripple. He's like, if the XRPL was able to, kind of like replace a bit of the Swift system for like 5% or so, like something less than 10%, of course, you will have a trillions of market cap, and that will immediately send XRP to $100.
Wow.
So
And that was an
there's-
estimation, excuse me, and that was an estimation of no more than 5 to 10%.
Yeah, it was very, very small. It was very,
Wow.
very small. I mean, because obviously you're not gonna do 100% of 50%. No, that is obviously
No, it goes
probably
along
not gonna
with-
happen.
Yeah, it's an on-ramp to the new system, right? So it's not going to take over overnight.
Yeah, I think right now, if you're seeing the pattern, Ripple is obviously super strong and had over 90% of its business outside of the U.S. when Biden and Gary Gensler were in charge. Gary Gensler, the former SEC chair, and obviously Biden.
Yeah, we can
So
say a lot about him,
there-
right?
Yeah, like there was an immense assault for crypto companies, and Ripple was number one persecuted, and they just finished the case, the big SEC versus Ripple case, and Ripple won. So
Right.
I mean, just going through the geopolitics of Russia, Ukraine, the war, and now this cuts and more, what's ahead? Absolute crypto domination, and the best companies positioned like Ripple, like Solana. You have your Sui, you have, I mean, Ethereum when it comes to stables. Everybody's creating stables right now. I mean, USD1 for the Trumps, Ripple RUSD. Like they all really just looking ahead as to, okay, we need those institutions. So once the rules of the road pass and we have the on ramp and we have the rails and everything set up, just the flock is gonna go and start using it, and everybody's gonna be ready. By then, things are gonna start going crazy, and we will already have our exit strategy well positioned.
Yes. And that's another thing that I'm still learning, because I round tripped. I just got into cryptos in 21. I round tripped my favorite project, which is Theta. The Theta network is my favorite project. But I round tripped that because I refused to sell. I didn't know that there was, a cycle involved and all that. And then by the time I learned it was already down, I round tripped it. I'm okay with that. I had patience, right? So one of the things that I'm learning now is how to take profits and why I would want to do such a thing. They call them lifestyle chips. If this market goes well, some of us could pay off the house, pay off a vehicle, do things productive in our lives, yet still, if we play it right, keep some of our crypto.
100%. I mean, there's tons of humans that I know, tons of friends that I know that are in this industry as creators or influencers, and they are already well off because they been doing it for the last couple of 5 years like me, or even earlier, like in 2017, 18. And right now they're leaders, creators, developers, founders, owners. But right now there's a wave of people that are interested. The thing is that in 2021 we had a nice meme coin market, like your classic AMC, your those crazy cryptos that went through the roof, and Robinhood, Dogecoin, and all of that. But now it's led by institutional money. Retail is not really enough to carry out what Michael Saylor is bringing to billions of dollars. Therefore, okay, and what are we supposed to do now? Just kind of wait for the next one? It's coming. I mean, believe me, like it's coming. It's not going to take that long. what's happening right now is like we just went through 126, 125 BTC, Ethereum almost 5,000, basically almost breaking all-time high. Well, there's obviously gonna be a slow, like a period of a pause, including just taking in consideration that we are not like there's an issue when it comes to the Fed cuts and the inflation and all of that because of Trump and going hard on tariffs, and he's not going to slow down. So it's just a transition period where investors are looking at and saying, okay, so what's happening? Like Bitcoin is doing phenomenal, but altcoins, like I haven't seen like Shiba Inu up or Theta up or Algorand or all of those ones
Right.
go back to their previous all-time high. So what's happening? It's because all the liquidity hasn't come down yet. All the liquidity is in the top 10. Look at Solana, 200, BNB broke all-time high. Ethereum almost all-time high. XRP broke all-time high. Bitcoin broke all-time high. And if you come down the list, Dogecoin is nowhere near all-time high. Cardano nowhere near. So like the top 5, that's where all the money is headed. And makes sense because investors and institutions, they're not risking. They're just solidifying and preparing their bags. Some of them selling, but most of them buying. And just a matter of time. And you just give yourself a good 5 months, which as we end this year, and I think we should be in a very good position.
Somewhere near first quarter 2026.
It could be earlier to get that euphoric pump because once we pass clarity, that week, those few weeks, we could have a nice 100 and give or take, we could have a nice 130,000 Bitcoin, breaking that all-time high with ease and passing clarity. I think we passed 5,000 Ethereum, not a problem. We passed $4 XRP, not a problem. Because the market structure build, that's really what matters for everyone. Clarity was more, Genius was more for stables. That's why there's a bunch of stables coming in right now, which that just helps for the US, for Ethereum. That is nice TBL. But Clarity Act, that's the one that's so tedious because that says this is a commodity, this is a security.
Right.
Once we have that definition in place, it's gonna be good and bad good for those who want to be commodities, bad for those who don't want to be securities. But we should be hopeful.
I agree. And I don't want to just brush over real quickly the Genius Act, because what they're doing is they're stipulating that if you're going to disperse, distribute, mint a stable coin, you have to have something backing it, which is completely opposite of the Federal Reserve. So what I see happening is not only are we bringing in the future of finance, but we're doing it on a more stable basis than the current system is on. What do you think about that?
Right now, obviously having Genius Act helps. And I've heard yesterday, I mean, that question literally, that's yesterday what I was listening to the SALT Wyoming summit, and there were former commissioner of the CFTC, and there was great panelists, and they were discussing, okay, Genius, great, that's a great first step in the right direction, and it's like taking place, but still, like, if something big happens in crypto and people lose a lot of money, there's still holes to be filled. There's still some more push to even claim and say, okay, banks start using the stable. No. Like, there's still, I will say, a good 8 to 12 months ahead for the US to really be in an amazing position to say, okay, guys, we're gonna fully transition, or not fully transition, but we're gonna start accepting and helping and providing all kinds of help for stables. Because banks and financial institutions, they gotta know what we're talking about, but what they need is that the SEC, the CFTC, the FDIC, and all of that, they need those rules. And we're not there yet, but by the same token, those who are here right now before those rules, we're seeing all the emotional changes. We're saying like, oh, good news, oh, bad news, oh, good news, oh, good. But once we actually pass everything through, that's just gonna send us, and it's gonna
Right.
be like, oh, it paid off. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Once people see not only that these bills are passing through our legislature, but that the market is rising to the occasion, and there is legitimate wealth to be had, and a sense of freedom that I think many Americans are looking for financially. We're strapped. There's no getting around the Federal Reserve. They're in every facet of our life, and I think some of us don't realize it. I think that once someone has tasted a little bit of crypto and becoming the bank, as crypto forces you to do, because you're the bank, you hold custody of your own coins. If you lose your seed phrase, you may lose all of your money. It's a lot of responsibility, but with it comes freedom that we haven't had with the Federal Reserve since 1913. Not to say that they're going to give up easy, because they are who they are and they want what they want. But I do think that it's a juggernaut. I think crypto, especially Bitcoin, is a juggernaut. It's not going to be stopped. The people that run and own the banks are not going to be able to stop it completely. Yeah. I think they'll have their slice of the pie. They're going to definitely try to manipulate, but at the same time, they're not going to be able to stop what's coming. There's too many people in it right now, and it means too much freedom for the debanked or the unbanked people of the world, which is something we in America don't really appreciate, that in other parts of the world, people don't have a bank account. They're not able to store money up anywhere other than maybe under their mattress or bury it somewhere. So I think we're going forward well. I think we're going in the right direction. Some people will think we're not going fast enough. I understand, but we can't bring it up so fast because there are so many people we know and love, our families, that wouldn't be able to handle it that quickly. I don't know what other bills do you think are out there that are going to help us out as, free citizens of whatever country? It doesn't matter, because this is international in scope. And before you go, Oscar, I'd like to ask you, reading a little bit on your Facebook, you're international. You're able to speak to, thousands, maybe millions, I don't know, of people of different languages, maybe Mexico, Central or South America. What do you see in those countries that's bringing the cryptoverse to them, or bringing adoption to a point where more and more people, especially like El Salvador, yet I don't think even El Salvador is 50% adopted to it. I don't know. What's your response to that?
Yeah, I think the first one, anti-CBDC, is going to come after the market structure, which is Clarity Act. Anti-CBDC, that's something that we really want to pass or kind of go through and do it well, because CBDC, it's something that obviously that work it out with the Federal Reserve, but what we don't want is to have it, because you basically can, in a way, control your citizens and say,
absolutely,
Oscar is behaving that way, we don't like it, or you get arrested, and then we can go to your funds, right? Because they're in the blockchain, and then we can pause them, freeze them, halt them, whatever, and you don't want your independence, your cash to be taken or affected in any way. So right. CBDC does help, but in different ways. But that's one that we need to pass, or it's the anti-CBDC push that we've seen in Florida first. Florida took the lead, and now in many different states, and now at the federal level. Now, when it comes to adoption and kind of going to Mexico or different Latin American countries, well, obviously, I think there is a big push into increasing, the income disparity that we've seen. As somebody from Mexico, I've seen how the different classes come out from the low income all the way to high income. And is there a way to bring those together closer, or is there a way to give everybody more independence? One thing I've seen is that the executive in Mexico, they're not really pushing with tons of energy to get themselves plugged into the crypto conversation. The current president, she doesn't really is excited, or she hasn't embraced, or she hasn't said anything about crypto so far in her period as president. If not, we could have easily heard that the sound bites, and it's like, oh, let's go. Mexico's trying to get maybe some type of clarity, but no, in reality, Mexico is gone right now. I don't know why, but I mean, hopefully a new president can bring that change. When you go down, El Salvador, I think, is the leader as far as the place that's secure, safe, changed completely with Bukele, and it's implementing that Bitcoin standard, and people like it, and it's been
Right.
working for them. A place that had inflation, a place that had absolute, crazy, levels of, terror and unsafety. Things have changed, and that's so good. Plus, people can use Bitcoin to pay and to go through so many different things in
Right.
their lives.
Right. And they're giving tax breaks for cryptocurrency
Yeah.
investors.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously an oasis for people who are looking for different places. That if it's not Dubai, if it's not Singapore, if it's not Shanghai, if it's not Hong Kong, if it's not someplace in Europe, like there's great places that, or like Puerto Rico, right, or different places that you can either pay less in taxes, because once you are a multi-millionaire, billionaire, obviously you don't want to pay any taxes if you can.
Of course.
And there are some countries that are saying, just come in, welcome. That is why we're Cynthia Lumens, the senator here in the United States, she's like, I'm gonna pass a Bitcoin tax, change reform, and they're going through some tax changes when it comes for crypto. So that's why the U.S. has to catch up, and I think that's what I will say that I'm excited for, and I'm always looking and updating the community, but I honestly want to say thank you so much, Chris, for the invitation, and thank you to all your audience. You can find me on YouTube, just my name, Oscar Ramos, and you will see me right there. Over 160,000 subscribers. Also on X as Oscar Ramos. We have over 100,000 followers too, and we're doing well. I'm very happy and blessed, and we're not going to stop, and we're pushing so hard because we believe crypto is the future, and we're all in.
Excellent. Thank you, Oscar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for stopping by today. We're going to keep the communication open. Whenever you want to come back on, you're always going to be welcome. I want you to know that we thank you very much, and we'll put links on under the show so that when people watch it, because people don't always watch live, they like to watch the show and comment a little bit afterwards. So we're going to put your links down there with your info and stuff. Text all that stuff to me. Everything that you want me to link, please text that to me. And I'll get that done. Oscar Ramos, you, sir, are a wealth of information, and I really appreciate you sharing that information and your knowledge with us, me, and the viewers. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Please get in touch with me. Let's not lose touch. And whenever you want to come on, you got something special to say or something you want to promote, I'll be here. Thank you very much, Oscar.
Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Oscar Ramos, ladies and gentlemen, he is one of those people who you bump into now and again, be it on the internet, be it at church, be it wherever. And, you just find out, hey, we have similar interests. So the invite went out and he accepted, and you got to hear his take on things. As you could tell, he's very articulate. He's been in this for longer than I have, for certain, and he's able to give us a little bit of a wide lens, if you will, at what's going on. I'll tell you what, listening to his voice, he's not panicked at all. A lot of people are, the sky is falling, we're not going to have a bull market, or this is it, we've already reached the highs, we're going to go back down, this and that. There's not going to be an altcoin season. He had none of that. Thank you, Barry. Barry says very informative. Thank you. I agree. I think, he was able to throw us some things that perhaps we haven't even talked about with XRP and how that's going to affect if we have any, money in that, if, we've invested, how it might be affected by some of this legislation that's going through. So I see things looking positive. Yeah, I'm an optimistic guy. I'll admit that. I see things being positive, but by and by, I really think that the adoption is going to be immense. It's going to be that, not just that snowball effect where you see, wow, it's getting bigger, it's getting bigger, it's getting bigger. I think it's going to happen in explosions. It's going to happen when we just look and we see all of these open wallets, all of these new interactions with the cryptoverse, mostly and mainly Bitcoin, but not just Bitcoin. We're going to see projects that are break through and people will, shill for them or whatever, for lack of a better word, like I do with Theta. Okay. So I'm appreciating right now the fact that Oscar is optimistic like I am. And I do know that I have people, Dan, tokenization of XRP. Yeah, well, you know what? I'll tell you what. XRP, you have many different opinions claiming, or let me put it in a different perspective. It's not just talking the talk, it's walking the walk. Meaning, we already have the information of the banks that are going to operate on the XRP blockchain. We already have their licensing contracts out to 500, maybe more by now. That might be old news. I don't know. 500 international banks are now able to transact on the blockchain, on the XRP blockchain. So whatever you say about XRP, it's obviously working. It obviously is operational and can grow at scale. So, you do what you want to do. I am not a financial advisor. I've got the beautiful Buffalo Bills shirt that my sister bought me a few weeks ago on. So you could tell that no financial advisor would come on a podcast looking like this, right? And I don't want to be a financial advisor. I want to be somebody that tells people in my position, meaning I'm a little guy, I want to let you know that, hey, there are options out there. You don't have to have a ton of money. You just have to decide where you're going to put it. Don't let anybody decide for you. You decide. Okay? That's what I'm here for, to tell you that you've got it. You've got this. You decide. I'll help you with information. I love to do it. I consider this a ministry. I want to wake people up to the fact that the old system is going down. Let's get on the new one. And this is just part of it. So the crypto, this is from Cointelegraph. Bitcoin analysts point to manipulation as Bitcoin price falls to 17-day low. Now, a lot of people throw that out, and a lot of people believe that, oh, well, it was just a matter of time. This word manipulation, okay? Now we know that the price of gold and the price of silver are heavily manipulated based on the COMEX. So the big banks take turns buying sell contracts, right? They say, hey, it's going down. And if you put enough money saying that it's going down, then you get to set the price if you have the power. And they do. So they set the price of gold and silver way lower than what it should be. And that's manipulation. Rigging, if you will. So some people believe the same thing's happening with Bitcoin. Dan says, when XRP and Bitcoin become easily attainable, more participants equals increase in demand. Exactly. The demand will rise, but not only will it be based on participants, I think it's going to be based on usage. They're going to see a usage of it. They're going to see a good use case. And it's only 500 now. Imagine how many banks are out there that are going to be using this. And to me, it's an admission, one, that it's a better technology. Two, we're going places. We're not sitting in this central banking cocoon, sarcophagus, if you will, because it means death to the little guy. If we stay in this long enough, and Oscar mentioned this, if we stay in this long enough, we're going to end up with a central bank digital currency. And he highlighted a few of the detriments and the evils of it, but there are more. Unfortunately, there are more. The central bank digital currency is a death to freedom. It's a death to personal finance. There's no other way around it. So this Cointelegraph article says that Bitcoin heads back below 113 at the Wall Street Open as bulls fail to clinch support. See, I don't think, this is me. I'm not some, wizened Cointelegraph author, but I don't think Wall Street has the power that some of these crypto bros want us to think. Not over crypto anyway, or Bitcoin. Bitcoin price manipulation is one explanation for the downside with exchange, order, book, bid, liquidity, and focus. What does that mean? A bunch of mumbo jumbo. It means that they are trying to do the exact same thing with Bitcoin on the exchanges, meaning they're bidding to buy Bitcoin at lower prices. Okay. And they fill the if you've gone into these exchanges, you can see all these different bids and the volume and all that. They're filling all that, okay, with low bids. They're lowballing the number, hoping that, and this is my opinion, you can differ, you can comment whatever you want. That's invited. It's encouraged. But what I think they're doing is they're keeping it low so they could buy more. Okay? They don't want to pay a higher price. Nobody wants to pay a higher. Everybody wants to see everybody who's got it wants to see it go up. But everybody who wants it either to go lower or to stay where it's at. And that's them. Okay? The industrials are in. And it's dog eat dog out there. And since it's still new, they're wondering, hey, wow, we're already well over 100,000. What is it going to look like? Is this thing going to crap out at some point? It's going to stall? Or is this thing going to go to 1 million and we want to get it at 112 or whatever they're trying to bring it down to? But if they're bringing it down, who are we not to buy? Granted, we're not going to have 112 grand to throw at it, but your $50 will go further than it would when it was 124. Am I wrong? So another one says, more crypto market volatility is expected from the Federal Reserve's Jackson Hole event. Oh man, that's another thing that we'll explore that Jackson Hole thing at a different time. But that's a crazy deal there. Keith Allen, co-founder of Trade. This is all again from this Cointelegraph article. Keith Allen, co-founder of Trading Resource Material Indicators, suggested that more bid liquidity appearing lower down on the order book, including plunge protection at 105, could be a form of price manipulation. You think, Keith? You think? I do. I know I do. So then he goes into some of these big whales, they call them. They're just big holders of Bitcoin. And that another popular commentator, the Kingfisher, warned that Bitcoin could bleed further, which would have significant consequences for altcoins. Okay, so I don't think that they're just trying to stop or at least slow down Bitcoin. I think shorting Bitcoin, says Barry, exactly. I think they're actually trying to short and slow down the altcoin season because they're in. And this is me thinking, right? And I know it's dangerous for me to think, but at this point, my opinion is not that they're trying to destroy crypto. I think that they want to get in it at a low price. So if they can keep these altcoins down, which again, we can take advantage just as well as they do. I just saw a new crypto. I'm not going to throw it out there because I haven't even looked at it well enough for me to throw it out there, but it's at 20 cents and it's only a few days old. It's like a week old. And I'm like, okay, should I grab a little bit? Should I not? But we have the advantage that they have. We don't have the buying power they have, but we do have the ability to pick this stuff up really cheap. Again, ladies and gents, this is a solid project, Digibyte. Okay? Digibyte is still, if I'm not wrong, lower than a cent. Okay? You can stock up on this thing. It's been around for a long time. It's got solid tokenomics. It's completely decentralized, meaning there's no danger of a 51% takeover like there is with Bitcoin. Okay? So Digibyte, if you were into decentralization, which I am, look at Digibyte. It's still low. You throw a couple $100 at it, it goes up a little tick. You're making money. Now you're making real money. Okay? Is it risky? Yes, it's risky. But you don't throw rent money at it. You don't, take a loan out on your mortgage and do it. You do what you want, but remember, we are looking for a way out of this trap called the Federal Reserve note. We're looking at a way out of death taxes, property taxes, all this stuff that strangles us, okay? The people behind the Federal Reserve don't like you. They hate you, okay? They are our enemies. They've made themselves our enemies. We haven't made them enemies. We're only trying to get out of their trap. So, that's basically the crypto. Does anybody have any more comments? I'm looking at the comments. If you got something about crypto, because I'm going to move on to, current events and so forth. Remember, we're coming at you. This is 97.7 FM, KCYP, the city out of McAllen, Texas. We're here at the McAllen Creative Incubator. We're going out on YouTube. We're going out on Facebook. We're going out on 2 radio apps. One is called Radio Garden, and the other is TuneIn Radio. So we're going to get into this Fox News article here. Department of Defense recruiting civilian volunteers for Trump admin immigration crackdown. Buy the dip, says Barry. I agree 100%, brother. Buy that dip while the opportunity is around. So the Department of Defense is offering its civilian employees. So it's not civilians as in, gas station employees or Walmart employees or bankers or anything like that. These civilians are already in the Department of Defense. So they're offering these civilians an opportunity to volunteer with Homeland Security. It's so much easier because they already have their background exams. They already have their investigations done. They already have their credentials as civilians. But listen, ICE needs a lot of assistance. They're trying to get this done so that it'll be less likely that voter fraud occurs in the midterm elections. I'm rooting for him. Personally, I'm rooting for him, working directly with ICE and Customs and Border Protection agents on the front lines of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Now, I don't see them, dressing up in riot gear. Victor Hernandez, great to see you, brother. We're talking about how Fox News just mentioned that the DOD is going to allow their civilian employees to work with ICE. They need all the help they can get. And I'm commenting by saying that I don't think they're going to have their riot gear on and stuff like that. I think they're going to probably be doing data entry. They might be doing something like, maybe security, something like that. I don't know, depending on the individual, right? A U.S. defense official told Fox News Digital the volunteers will serve in critical support roles for up to 180 days at an ICE or CBP facility. So it's going to be a detail. They're going to get per diem, the meals and the hotel and all that's going to be covered. Candidates should be committed to improving the efficiency of the federal government, passionate about the ideals of our American republic. I love that. Someone who actually says the American republic and doesn't go with that lie that says we are a democracy. That is a bunch of hooey. So, Corinne, good to see you. So, they're, according to a listing posted on USA Jobs, travel, lodging, and per diem may be reimbursed by the receiving agency, and the salary is listed between $25,684 to $191,900, just about $192,000 a year. Wow. So, if you're a civilian DOD employee, maybe you want to think about helping out ICE. I don't know. So, this is not a zero hedge. Trump says he'll patrol Washington with police, National Guard, Thursday. Wow, that's now. I wonder if he's out there, He says, I'm going to be going out tonight, I think, with the police and with the military, of course. We're going to do a job, Trump says. We're going to do a job. He told Todd Stearns on his radio show today. The president went on to say that the military stationed in Washington is doing a fantastic job at law enforcement in the nation's capital. President Donald Trump federalized control of the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department on August 11th, ordering about 800 National Guard troops to assist with law enforcement. So Barry says, make the bologna sandwiches. Yeah. It's something tells me, Barry, you know a little bit about that. You might know a little bit about the bologna sandwiches and how those things have to be made. They could probably do a good job of that. On this DC thing, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring something to your attention if it's not already been brought to your attention. All of the I want to say leftist inclined people that are up in arms about this federalization of the control of Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, Washington, D.C. is a federal district. It's not a state. It's always been under federal control. Okay? Now, the prior control was with people such as Pelosi, even Bowser. Okay? These people, these two individuals, are the ones that kept the federal or the National Guard out of the Capitol, away from the Capitol, when Donald Trump already authorized it. It takes 3. Ladies and gents, I really want to educate everybody on this. It takes 3 approvals to get National Guard out there. Okay? It takes the president. This is on an emergency basis, okay? It takes the president, it takes the Speaker of the House, and it takes that mayor, right? These two didn't want the National Guard out there because they already knew the op was going to go down. Okay? They knew what was going to happen. They knew that they had trans Tifa and all those different, thugs out there busting windows. They were already. The DC police were already under control. They're the ones who took the barriers away and invited the citizens into the Capitol. Okay. The operation was set. So finally, orders being established in the unfortunate place called Washington, D.C. I'll tell you what, I went there a few weeks back and I made sure that me and my family were out before it was dark. There's no way I want to risk my family by being there after dark. President Donald Trump federalized control. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor. And worse, Trump said at a White House press briefing at the time. This is Libertarian Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. Liberation Day, I'm sorry. This is Liberation Day in D.C., says Donald Trump, and we're going to take our capital back. So, ladies and gents, I'm going to give you another wrinkle, if you will. You can bear with me and listen, or you can go off and do whatever you're going to do because you might think this is ridiculous. But this is what I think. Not only do they have them in D.C., they have the National Guard in other places. Strategic and interesting places. Ladies and gentlemen, for all of you who say, I want to see arrests, you're not thinking this through. Donald Trump and the Patriots have thought it through. What do I mean by that? I mean that when the arrests do start, the deep state is not going to take it lying down. Okay? They may not have a big footprint with MS, thanks to El Salvador, but they sure do have their trans Tifa. They're going to probably warm up BLM. They'll have those women on with the pink hats. There's no stopping the nastiness, the craziness, and the mayhem, to use a word that President Trump made, bedlam. Okay? There's no telling how thick that's going to get when the usual suspects start getting wrapped up. Okay? There's already indictments out there. There's already, summonses, all of that. It's coming, ladies and gentlemen. It's finally coming. So what are they doing? They're setting the tone. They're preparing for it. Right? That's my opinion. Russia attacks U.S.-owned factory in Ukraine while insisting it has veto power over any security guarantees. Now, if you don't think that President Trump, President Putin, President Xi, President Millet, right? President Bukele from El. If you don't think they have back channels to discuss all this stuff, then you're just not thinking. When Trump says something aggressive against Russia and Russia does something aggressive like it did in Ukraine, they're communicating. They're not holding this back. They were in Alaska for who knows how long. I'm sure this kind of stuff came up. Now, the article says that there were 800 people in there, but if you look into it, there were injuries, but no deaths. And some say 600, some say 800. So it's kind of like when Donald Trump said he was going to blast Iran or Syria, and he did it. but basically he just picked an empty field or a hill, nobody on it, blasted it just to appease those, bloodthirsty neocons and leftist warmongers. I like to say that the Republicans and Democrats are just two wings of one bird. Okay. So he's trying to please them by not killing anybody. That doesn't make them happy, of course. They don't like peace. They want death, but they're going to get what they get. And someday, maybe it'll be a jail cell. Anyway, this is a good one here, guys. Cracker Barrel faces Bud Light moment. Renee, did you hear about this one yet?
Oh, I heard about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So Cracker Barrel CEO Julie Fells-Massino, they got to have 3 names, is steering straight into a Bud Light moment, learning nothing in recent years by abandoning the restaurant chain's half-century-old logo that symbolized nostalgia for rural America and the old country store. Instead, the company has embraced the woke rebranding of many other household names. So basically what she did, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard this, is she took the white guy out of the picture. I mean, that's pretty simple, right? I mean, what did they do? They took the Indian lady out of the, what do you call it? The butter. What was the butter? What's that butters? I can't remember the name. Land O'Lakes. Yeah, it's a good meme. It's like, yeah, take away the Indian and keep the land. That's what they did. That's them. All right. And all kinds of stuff from the Bud Light with the trans guy and all that. Yeah. They call it in this article soulless rebranding. So it's weak. But what do you expect from woke? You can't expect anything victorious, anything successful, or anything real from woke. You have to know that woke is what it is, and it's not going to change. Appeals court tosses Trump's $454 million civil fraud judgment as president claims total victory. So remember when, what's her name? Letitia James claimed that there was real estate fraud perpetrated by Donald Trump. It's all, of course, fraudulent. The whole case against him was fraudulent. But you know what was not fraudulent? The case against Letitia James. The reason why she knew so much about real estate fraud is because she engages in it actively and commonly. Hopefully, she'll see the hooskow. DOJ to investigate Fed governor urges her removal over alleged mortgage fraud. Here's another one in the DOJ, mortgage fraud. How did they know to use mortgage fraud charges against our president? Because they're very well versed in it. They enjoy it because they make a lot of money off of it. That's who these people are. So her name is Lisa Cook, after a top justice official informed Fed Chair Jerome Powell she's part of the Federal Reserve of the probe and encouraged him to remove her from the board in a letter sent Thursday. That's today. Ed Martin. I'm getting to like this Ed Martin guy. Okay. He's an investigator and he's got a lot of people on the line. One of them being Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff. If you ever want to learn about Adam Schiff, I've got 3 words for you and to send you down the rabbit hole. The Standard Hotel. Yes. Yes and yes. New York AG General Letitia James told Powell that Cook's case requires further examination. Yeah, you'll see a lot there, right? So Martin said, at this time, I encourage you to remove Mrs. Cook or Ms. Cook from your board. Do it today before it's too late. After all, no American thinks it's appropriate that she serve during this time with a cloud hanging over her. Ladies and gentlemen, the hunters have become the hunted. All those spies against our president are having their comeuppance. Hence, we have to prepare. We will prepare in our own way. We all do. We are citizens of this great nation. We are citizens of a nation that wants to be friendly with other nations. We have neighbors that we don't hate. We don't want to go to war with them. The people that love war, they're going to want to prod us into war. Not only here, but overseas. That's not going to happen. The worm is turning, ladies and gentlemen. Justice will be served. It won't be served on our timeline, but it will be served. Preparations have begun. Please don't be a doomer. Please don't think in complete and total negatives. in perpetuity, you're not doing yourself any favor. If you need any resources, if you need any, let's say, glasses half full angles to look at, get in touch with me, please. Bitcoin Otter at Secure, SEKUR. Bitcoin Otter at secure.com. As I've said before, and I'll say it again, I consider what we're doing here a mission. I consider it a ministry. And that's why I read from the Bible. That's why I pray for you. And I thank you for watching. We're about to close out. If anybody doesn't have any more comments, I'd like to let you know that I appreciate you watching. I appreciate my guest tonight, Oscar Ramos, for stopping by. And I appreciate you guys showing him respect and all that good stuff, because that's who you are. Thank you very much for watching. I ask that God bless you, bless your family, bless America. Let's go. Let's do this. We are America, and we're going to get it done. God bless you. And until next Thursday, have a great week.
This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio